The Wall Street Journal this evening, the U.S. is looking for the dismantling of Iran's 3 main nuclear sites, an end to all enrichment, the suspension of their ballistic missile program, curbing support for proxies around the world, and the reopening, of course, of the Strait of Hormuz. The regime reportedly wants an end to all aggression and assassinations, as they put it. No more strikes in Iran, reparations, and for Iran to retain control of the strait. Joining us now, Ambassador John Bolton, former national security advisor in the first Trump administration. Ambassador, always nice to see you. Thanks for being on with us tonight. How close, how far, where do you think it is right now between these two sides?
Well, it's about as far apart as you can get. To call this a negotiation or a serious conversation even is a gross exaggeration. I think there's a lot of posturing on both sides. I don't think it's going to amount to a row of beans. And from the U.S. point of view, it shouldn't, because the real objective, which I think the president started out trying to achieve, is regime change. And until you get that, we're going to face this same attitude from the Ayatollahs and the Revolutionary Guard in Tehran as far as the eye can see.
The White House is making the argument that it is regime change, that the top leaders are no longer there. What say you?
Well, it's simply not true. It's just simply not true. It's true there are some leaders who are dead, but the people who are taking over in the top leadership positions, for example, the replacement of Ali Larijani, the Secretary of the Supreme National Security Council, is probably more hardline than he was. We have sowed immense confusion and we have destabilized the regime, but it's the ideology of these fanatics that keeps them together, even in this circumstance. There's more to do, that's for sure, but the idea that because we've killed many of the top people, that the people below them have less strict ideologies is just a mistake.
You know, there was a video that was put out by the Central Command, by the CENTCOM commander, Admiral Bradley Cooper, moments ago, and there was one part that really stood out to me, and I'm going to quote him here. He said, "We have damaged or destroyed over 2/3 of Iran's missile, drone, and naval production facilities and shipyards, and we are not done yet." Ambassador, if we've destroyed 2/3, give or take, that leads me to believe that there's still about 1/3 that haven't been destroyed. And when we talk about this or hear about this 4 to 6 week time frame that the administration continues to talk about, it seems like that time frame holds up, and that the attacks, no matter what the negotiations may or may look like, are going to continue here for the upcoming weeks.
And I don't see any reason to put an artificial limit on it. I think 4 to 6 weeks was probably the estimate at the beginning, and it may take longer. We may have, in the course of looking at the damage assessments after the bombings, found other facilities, or we have reason to believe from our imagery that there are other facilities. And I think we just keep systematically destroying the Revolutionary Guard, the Quds Force, the besieged militia, their 2 big subsidiaries, the nuclear program, the ballistic missile program, the production facilities for missiles and drones, and certainly anti-ship missiles and other devices, swift boats and so on, that can mine the Strait of Hormuz. We just keep doing it until
how long do you think that
everything
takes?
We can find has been destroyed. I think it takes as long as it takes, and I hope that that's sufficient to destabilize the regime, that it starts coming apart at the top. I think it is beginning to come apart at the top. We still have a way to go. And I would just say, for all the people who say, why isn't this over yet? It's like kids in the backseat of a car saying, are we there yet? Are we there yet? No, we're not there yet.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.